and I'm here with Reverend Betty Tatalajski at the Temple of Universality. And today we're going to talk about war and peace. Now, it might be understandable that if we're going to reinforce peace, because I'm a hippie, and you know how hippies held about war, you know.
And I'm a Marine.
And she's a Marine, former Marine, U.S. Marine Corps. And so to give equal billing to war and peace, we're going to let the former Marine, now Reverend Betty Tatalajski, talk a little about war.
You know, as the Dalai Lama says, war is outdated. When we ask him about it, he says it's too late in the evolution of the world to be at war. Some of us probably didn't hear that message, but I just remember, you know, you've met my grandma in spirit,
Yeah.
who was at one time a Pentecostal minister, and the song that she came in singing, you know, from the spirit world is "Study War No More." Gonna lay down my burdens down by the riverside and ain't gonna study war no more. All of her generations sang that song, at least in Kentucky where I lived, and so that would have been a good thing. But later, the big war we had, we call the Great War of the Second World War, and we thought that was the war to end all wars. I made a vow to ourselves that this would not happen again, but we keep perpetuating this. And you know, even though many ministers get in their podium and talk about the Ten Commandments, they seem to just
Gloss over.
Thou shalt not kill, because it isn't that you just kill somebody and they die and that's over, you know, because you can think of a lot of reasons you've done it, you know. And you just know that St. Peter's going to let you in the gate, you know, because this was a justified
You had
killing.
reason.
You had a
You would
reason.
never kill anybody unless you had a reason.
No, you wouldn't. You're a good person. You're a good Christian. Yeah. You're a good whatever religion and philosophy you are. And so it seems like to me that we're pretty ignorant people to keep allowing ourselves to get caught up in the killing fields. And so since we're in this time, this summer, this red hot summer as it were, of remembering, and when we watch the television, we're seeing so many people being killed every day in something like civil war. Now we in America can think back to our Civil War, and it didn't serve us well. And there has been a lot of disconnect over that for a long time. But we remember, and especially myself, being a Marine who is a pastor for peace, an ambassador for peace. And you know, my whole passion is traveling around the world with the Middle East Peace Initiative, with the International Interreligious Federation for World Peace, and traveling to 120 countries doing peace talks. So I'm sort of trying to gloss over the fact, of the war that I was involved in. So anyway, we're thinking back to the big one, to the Great War, and what the people have waited for and prayed for since 41, and finally in 45 and June 6, 1944. And I always go back to Normandy Beach because when I was in France, the beautiful country that you just visited, and you cannot walk the beach at Normandy without feeling the spirit of those who are lying there.
How many were killed in that battle?
I have some figures on it. It's unbelievable. There were 73,000 Americans killed.
Killed in Normandy?
Who lie on Normandy beaches. There are 23,000 at Utah. There are 15,500 British at Juneau. There are 23,000 at Omaha. And you know, we just see a bunch of red crosses.
But that's close to 150,000
Yes,
wiped out.
156,000.
156,000 in one operation.
On one operation. There were 1 million people involved in it. This does not include actually the naval part. And so many, you know, especially Marines who landed on the Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, were killed. I have heard people since talking about the only way they could get to the beach because the boats, as they were, could only come in so far, and the first wave of Marines, soldiers, and so forth, were shot, were killed by the Germans, and as the bodies stacked up in the water, they were able to run across
the tops of them, the fallen,
over the tops of them onto the
beach.
And so, you know, if we can get that picture in our mind and know that it wasn't what we call others doing this was us. This was our grandparents, our fathers, and so it's very close to the hearts of many people. People who didn't get to meet their father or their grandfather, so forth. So I feel that we should ponder on this, that we should ponder the price it cost us for killing and negotiation. And what we have prayed for is peace in our time. And we know that it's past time for this to happen. So when I visited Normandy the first time, and I'm just a tourist, okay? And I'm walking through appalled. I mean, you cannot walk the whole thing because every country has its own killing fields, their own memorials, and these people are here. But when I was at Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, Iowa Beach, there was such a resounding sound here. There were people talking, there were people crying, and I couldn't hear distinctively what they were saying, but they were certainly not dead.
Yeah, they're in pain still.
They were not. They were not dead. People really. We need to understand, and we need to appreciate and understand that you cannot die. Your body can be killed, but it is not possible for you to die because you were never born. You were created and come into a body that is very temporary. If you've had a small child die, a baby die at birth, you know how transitory this is, that the body is. But that baby, that person, that soul, spirit didn't die. It's still right there in your heart and will never leave you. So we're so privileged and here at the Temple of Universality where we can speak to those people. You know, I was telling you about a dear, dear friend of mine, a student, maybe 20 years ago, whom I did not know was had ever given birth to babies, you know, had a child. And so when I took her to Camp Chesterfield and she got to talk to her grandma and her family, you know, in a seance through that lifted trumpet, you know, and they're talking directly to her, and her grandma says, I have a couple of people I want you to meet. And these two young boys came in there that were 10 and 11 years old, and they were abortions. Now, you know, to me, abortion is a individual choice. I could never say you cannot do this because I don't have the right to say that. No one has the right to infringe upon someone else's conscience. It's as if I'm going to take this on for you. No, it doesn't work that way. It's individual choice.
You know, Betty, it's like God gave us free will, and man tried to take it away, has been trying to take it away from each other ever since.
Well, yes, and sometimes we want other
Sure.
folks to, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want, I want this to happen, I want to do this, but I don't want to feel guilty
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
So how about you
You do
choosing
it,
this
yeah.
for me? Well, no, I can't do that for folks. We just pray that, you know, the path that we are walking, we know we're doing the best we can, but we also know that everybody else is doing the best they can with where they are at the moment, and we can't make judgment on that. So,
We were also told not to judge too, weren't we? Along with not killing.
right, do not
Judge.
judge. For each person
Yeah.
is doing the best they
Yeah.
can with what they know at the time. And I think this is good with Father's Day coming up, and you know, and we have the sort of recriminations, you know, Daddy should have been better, you know, and he should have known better. And then we sit back and look, you know, at our own lives and our own kids, you know, and they thinking, you should have been done
Better.
better. But anyway, friends, you know, when I'm walking the beach at Normandy and I'm hearing this muttering, and I thought, well, I can't hear what they're saying. I'm glad I can't, because how tormenting that would be. But anyway, Spirit says, write this. And you know, my dictation, they give me dictation, and I'm so thrilled. And of course, it's not for me to put in a book and, you know, wow, you know, they gave me this. No, Spirit says, we give it to you for the people. For the people. And so, beloved friends, I want to share with you what Spirit told me they were saying as I could hear the murmuring, the pain. And let me explain that when people make transition, they go into exactly the frequency, exactly the picture, exactly the way that they make transition. So we want them to know. This is why hospice is so good. It gives people an opportunity to move into spirit. Those in the spirit world to come down and say, we're here to
for
help you. You're going to have a beautiful life over here. So nobody has had a chance to do this in Normandy. I'll tell you, when I go to the Holocaust Museum in Israel, there is always like a tribute to the pain there. And you know, the first time I went, I've been 25 times to that memorial. The first time I went, I was so assailed by the spirit of pain and suffering, unimaginable suffering. And it hit me in the stomach, and I had to crawl through the Holocaust looking for a way out. And instead of going in there and saying, we celebrate you, we bring you peace, we offer you peace, God bless you, we are still memorializing the pain. The suffering. And so the ego holds us hostage. But Spirit says, write this. And so, as always, I get out my checkbook and write these poems on the back of them. Many men still lie on Normandy beaches. They've been there for many years. They lie under white crosses in row after row. I wonder if they feel our tears. They gave their lives for freedom, that you and I might live in a world of peace and brotherhood. They gave all that they could give. We pay homage to their spirits, for we know they didn't die. Their bodies lie on Normandy beaches, but their spirits soar high in the sky. We honor their courage and sacrifice. We vow to set things right. We turn our hearts from hate to love, and remember, we're all one in God's sight. That was the first one, and that was one of the 73,000 lying there at Utah Beach, 23,000 on Omaha Beach. There were 15,500 British Canadians at Juneau. As I'm walking there, I can hear them saying, Utah, Omaha. They're giving the name of the part of the beach that they
Fell
in. And they're saying, I'm still here. I'm still here. So I'm walking around telling them, go to the light. You know,
Yeah.
in my kindergarten
Yeah.
instruction, go to the
Light,
light.
yeah.
Free yourself. You know, your body is no more, and your body has pretty much dissolved, but you can move, and I ask you, please move. There are so many in spirit who are waiting for you, for comfort, and to take you into that beautiful place. We need to tell people the truth. I think it's too long we are telling them fairy tales, and that because you are lying here under this white cross with poppies around you, that you are supposed to be comforted by that, but they cannot bury your spirit. We know that you are alive. This is still going on, of course, now, and it seems like that so many in the world are advocating killing again. It just doesn't make sense, does it? Does it make sense to you out here? It doesn't to many of us. Why would we choose to do this? Killing causes karma. Beloved friends, since you were never born, you were created. Since you are born in the image and likeness of the creative source, God, like God, you will never die. You will have an adventuresome life in this planet, on this planet, and those unlimited numbers of universes and worlds, planes, as it were. And so let us go free ourselves from the ties that bind us to pain and suffering and what we do to other people. We are responsible for that. So I think in this time of political unrest, as it were, and elections coming up, and some people saying elections being bought, this is not a political time right here, but it's a time to remember to wake up that each of us is responsible for our own responses. So let us study war no more and understand that all people we call humanity, our family is humanity. We're given the free will to worship the great creative source we call God, that over 1 in 5 of us called Allah, 1 in 6 of us are Chinese, 1 in 6 of us is Hindu, mostly Indian, and so why do we not celebrate our brothers and sisters and the name of the creative source who created us all? Now, you know, I have never understood a prejudice according to what someone looks like. Now, I can see that I could envy someone who is a genius, you know, that would be different. But as far as the skin tone is concerned, to me, it's like a bouquet of red roses is very beautiful. But you put some red roses in with some beautiful pink tulips and some beautiful bouquet, and humanity becomes so much more beautiful, doesn't it? Than all just boring color, one color. Beloved friends, I would like to share with you the second poem that Spirit gave me, the second message. They give it to me in rhythm because they know I can remember it a lot better that way. Now, I was stationed, my husband was stationed at Yorktown, Virginia. We lived on the Potomac. I'd like to share this final one with you. This is a salute to veterans and all who heard the call, then dropped the plow and marched ahead to where they gave their all. They fought and they prayed to live just another day, knowing that many would go and only a few would stay. The bleak fog of darkness seemed to embrace them all. Through long, sleepless nights, their souls would echo the call, freedom, liberty, and justice for all, not the few. Keep those stars a-shining amidst the red, white, and blue. The same call for freedom heard by many before, from Bunker Hill to Yorktown and along the Potomac shore. The drumbeat of courage beat in every breast. Again they came and answered the call and passed every test. From the shores of the Pacific to the beaches at Normandy, they fought and cried and died, and their mothers cried their heartbroken plea. Our Father who art in heaven, we beseech you for peace. Turn our hearts and minds to you and cause all hate to cease. In this time of new beginning, in the new world that we create, help us all to live in love and say goodbye to hate. So I thank you, God, for evolution and a spiritual revolution that brought me from the Marine Corps to the Temple of Universality as a pastor for peace. For Martin Luther King said, "War is a poor chisel to carve out peace." So we want to see and experience a beautiful, peaceful summer and go into this Aquarian age that we are building. As the Dalai Lama said before, war is an old concept that is invalid. A lot of people don't know that. They still choose to be fearful of other people. Beloved friends, strangers, these people that we are fearful of are only friends we haven't met yet.
Well, you've just heard from a former Marine, now Reverend Betty Tatalajski at the Temple of Universality. These are words that I think their time is coming, Betty.
The time is coming, but it should be now. It should be now.
Yeah, we're here. I mean, here we are in 2012. The Middle East is virtually on fire.
Right.
It's tinder dry. People are screaming that we should be at war.
Right.
And let's go to war now. We're on the verge of another conflagration. They don't seem to solve anything except another set of conflicts that arise on the graves of those who have fallen before. And it's our hope and prayer that indeed these times are over, that man's history is changing in a way that it never has before, and that the peace that people have called for throughout the ages is really at hand. And Betty, it may not be by the hand of man after all. It may be done by the hand of God, because when we wait for, and we are waiting. Yeah. And I guess what we should do is just wait in faith that this is going to be so.
In peace, acquiesce.
Yes, in peace, acquiesce.
In peace, acquiesce.
Yep.
And I think there's something in the Bible, too, about do not judge. Do not judge, folks,
That's right.
Let us live in peace.
Yeah.
We were created that way.
Yeah.
As Cardinal Newman said to us one time, again, in the Spirit, you ask for peace, you pray for peace, you scream for peace, but remember, breathe. You are a piece of God.
Thank you. Friends, we welcome you to join us at the Temple of Universality every Sunday at 11 o'clock at the corner of Country Club and Prince. We preach a message of peace. We live a message